going to say it. I think
If you were a Pom with a huge rap on Nigel Mansell, then 93 was your year. The Williams-Renault team started the season by simply annihilating the opposition, including the previous season's all-conquering Marlboro McLarens of Ayrton Senna and Gerhard Berger. As Nige took race after race and teammate Riccardo Patrese played faithful Tonto, team owner Frank Williams went public about the likely re-emergence of Alain Prost in 93. From that point on, Mansell was on a downer and the team divided. Senna even offered to fill the Brits' boots for nothing, but was politely turned down. At season's end, Nigel had his championship, 9 victories, plenty of records, and a willing party to ditching F1 and going IndyCar racing in 93.
The circumstances beyond my control, I have decided to retire in Formula One.
It was a season that promised so much, but produced headlines for all the wrong reasons. The World 500 bike trail started at Suzuka in the blinding rain. Wayne Gardner stood out like a beacon in the mist till he crashed into a guardrail and broke his leg. Mick Doohan was a little more conservative. He won not only the opener, but his home GP at Eastern Creek to set up a huge points lead. Doohan unfortunately crashed heavily at Assen and all but lost his leg in the accident. Gardner came back, but on the eve of the British GP at Donington, he announced his impending retirement at season's end. And to show who was still boss, he won the Donington race in sensational style. Doohan's massive lead was eroded race after race by Wayne Rainey. And when the young Queenslander came back for the South African finale, he knew the impossible task facing him. Rainey bolted to the lead in the championship, leaving the mid-season leader as the most disappointed runner-up in the history of the 500 crown.
He's obviously disappointed, but at the same time, you know, he did give his best and you can't ask any more than that. As he's said all year, winning the World Championship is all about being the most consistent over 13 races. Well, he led the championship for 12 races and just came up a little bit short right at the end.
Once again, the kart IndyCars went from strength to strength. The second Surface Street Shuffle was spiced with incidents. Emerson Fittipaldi emerged as the king of Cavill Avenue, while 2 months later, Little Al Unser won his first Indy 500 for the Valvoline Gallus team. Unlike F1, the Indy boys took their title down to the wire at Monterey, where Bobby Rahal picked up sufficient points to clinch the crown. It was the same story on the NASCAR trail, where Ford appeared to have a big edge over the V8 Chevys. Davey Allison starred on the super speedways and built up a good early season lead over Billy Elliott and Alan Kawicki. It was a year where the king, Richard Petty, bid his fans goodbye. The Atlanta final was a three-way fight to the finish between Allison, Elliott and Kawicki, which the latter won through sheer tenacity.
I've been the underdog a lot of my career, and hopefully that'll be an inspiration to thousands of short track racers across the country that are maybe aspiring to do this, and Busch Grand National drivers, and maybe it'll help some of the people that are dreaming about doing this to believe in themselves, and you know, if I can do it, maybe they can too.
For local fans, the Shell Touring Car Nationals produced the closest racing in ages, even if Winfield Team Nissan did come up with a championship one too. Mark Scaife did a sterling job throughout the 9-point scoring rounds. BMW's Tony Longhurst and the Shell team's John Bowe were the real spoilers. The only person who could beat Mark for the title was teammate Jim Richards. He didn't, and not happy with one national for the year, Scaife also picked up his second Gold Star title in 2 years. Larry Perkins starred in the Sandown 500, which at least gave him some confidence on the road to Bathurst. And on the subject of the mountain marathon, rain, fog and mist prevailed. Pole sitter Dick Johnson had no hope in the wet against the four-wheel drive GTRs, but hung in there anyway. The untimely death of Denny Hulme cast a shadow over the race, which ended in a downpour under a red flag. The nod going to Richards over Johnson, with Crompton and Olofsson third in the second GTR. Naturally, not everyone agreed with the result.
This is going to remain with me for a long time. You're a pack of arseholes.
92 will also be remembered as a fabulously successful season on the Aussie ovals. World Sprint Car champion Steve Kinser arrived on our shores and won 11 out of 12 trophy mains for the Peter Jackson team, while dirt track legend Gary Rush took his 10th national title in Sydney. Brad Jones wrapped up his third Oscar crown in as many years, and Sydney veteran George Elliott won a last race to decider to become NASCAR king. In motocross, young Anthony Gobert was the czar of the handlebars in the Supercross Masters, while Matthew Mladen took the Shell Oil Superbike Championship for Kawasaki. Yes, a great year. Plenty of ups, quite a few downs, but 93 promises even more action and headlines. Just you wait and see. Mike Raymond reporting for Sportsworld.
Oh.